I mentioned before, I felt fiberglass behind here. And this is what I've pulled out. So behind that obviously is another rust hole. Rightio, on this episode we are going to pull this quarter back off that's just sitting on there, start doing some hammer and dolly work to straighten it out a little bit and trimming it up a little bit so it actually fits back correctly. Once we've got it sitting in the right position, then we're going to create the missing piece that I cut out the other day from the tub, and once we get through all that, we should be able to spot weld it back on. We'll see how far we get tonight though. Enjoy. Okay, now the distractions have gone. Got the quarter panel sitting on at the moment. A couple of clamps and vice grips to sort of hold it roughly in place. What I'm finding is that this piece is supposed to slot down underneath this piece, but as you can see, the old bit's in there and it's brazed and all the rest of the stuff, so it's going to be too much work to get it out. So I trimmed this off. Now my calculation should be that that should butt up. So the panel needs to come down. Also needs to come across just a little bit, which is, I can force it across a bit. That's not a big issue there at all. We're seeing here where, you know, as that panel comes across, hopefully that hole will close up a little bit there as well, but some of the spot welds were right on the edge of the old panel. Same down in through here. When you see it from the side, it's actually a bit gappy. Down underneath here, it's all sort of fitting up too bad. There is a repair, it needs to be done down underneath there. You look down inside the boot here, it's actually sitting fairly flush all the way across. You can see the rust repair that needs to be done to the inner tub just there. But it is quite gappy when you look at it from this angle here. So that tells me that the panel needs to come backwards still, looking at that. When I come up over here, this is the same deal. This little lip here, where it's tapered down, is supposed to run underneath that one there. once again raised in, so I'll probably trim this back and butt it up. This little tab here needs to be chopped off. It is clamped on up here. I've trimmed it here. I've left excess over here for the moment, so I'll get a nice clean cut through there. I've overcut just a little bit there, but that's fine, I'll fix that up. And I'll just put one Tek screw in there to pin this panel into its place there. And I know it's in the right position, even though this is all sitting out, because it's tight up in here. This needs to be spot welded together, obviously, when we're finished. As I come down here, this needs to be cut a little bit further. Come down here. Now I think this panel's actually supposed to sit underneath this one originally, but we're going to button them together, and that low spot's going to help me weld and give me a surface to fill properly, which will mean that panel will sit back hard up. Once that's sitting tight in here and here, we should get a nice line with the door. At the moment it's out of whack just a little bit. As you can see, the gap runs out from top to bottom. Just a little bit, not much, but we'll get the gaps right. That was the idea of gapping the door up to start off with. Height wise, the body line is lined up. Obviously once that panel goes in, that will make the body lines match, because at the moment it's stepped out about 6 or 7 mil. Down under here, the other side of that rust repair down the bottom there, which you can't really see in the dark. I should really get the light in there. So overall it is coming together. But just a few more fine adjustments. Once I get it into place, I put a few screws in it, so then when I take it off and go to put it back on, I know that's going to end up in exactly the same position. And once we've done our rust repairs down the bottom, I'll tack the panel on, and then I'll do this cut last once the panel's tacked into place, and make sure that that's a nice clean cut between the two panels. Let's open the gap up a little bit more again, but it's still rather tight at the bottom. You know, you're talking probably 1.5 mil at the bottom and 4 mil at the top. So there's still a fair bit of work that's got to be done. But now, as you can see, that the body line is now actually sitting flush here now, which is great, because I had that flush before to start off with. So I know I'm on the right track there. I'm wondering if the body line, or the door gap, sorry, is going to tighten up when I screw this panel down, because it's going to try and roll. And I also like to get it to sit back a little bit more down there, because the door's sitting fairly good there, but we've got an edge here where the quarter panel's sitting higher, even though it's hard up against the support structure that's underneath it. But it is starting to definitely come together. Just a matter of poking, prodding, slowly working everything. Look, I probably understand this bit's a little bit boring as well, cutting, grinding, shifting, fiddling, doing all that sort of stuff, so I'll put a few time lapses and stuff like that into here so you're not looking at the same stuff over and over and for a terribly long period of time. But unfortunately it is the process of replacing the quarter panel, and it takes time. It's as simple as that. So anyone who's wanting to do this, I mean, best bet is to just jump in and have a crack. I mean, at the end of the day, you can't make the car any worse if it was, rusted out and all the rest of the stuff beforehand. So don't be afraid. It's only metal. Get it wrong, cut it out, do it again. It's easy, really. It's just that the more time you take to get something right, the better the finish is going to be. It's the same with prepping for paint, doing all that sort of stuff. It's even the same with building your engine. Just the more time you take, the cleaner things are, the more effort you put into it, the better the result's going to be. It's as simple as that. So hopefully I'm not boring you too much on this, but we will be moving on to more exciting stuff like fabricating and things like that once I've got this sitting in the right place. Like I said, this section in behind here needs to be fabricated. Once we get this thing flipped over and on the rotisserie, which is going to be the next thing that we build for this car, then we're going to be coming and doing the inside of these tubs and stuff like that. Get the whole underside of the car sorted, and then we'll get it back on its wheels again and then start working on the outside of the car. Right. Now, I've spoken to every owner of this car. None of them ever told me about an accident, and I'm beginning to think this is what's going on here. So, this panel should be spot welded all down and around here, and there was a piece missing from behind here. You can see where this piece has been welded on over the top. You can see grind marks in down through around here. We can also see some rippling down through here. And as we get down further, sorry, as I sit down, as we get down further, we can see some more stuff that's happened. Now, to me, it looks like there's a weld through here, which then carries on around the corner and down in through this section here. So basically that's been welded in from there all the way down around down through here, this is all rough, textured. I've dug out the rest of the bog that was in this corner here. There's some tack welds in here. The spot welds here sort of look factory, but not really, especially when you come up here and you can see where the welds are along that seam, which looks terrible. And I think the other weld is through here. So it's like they've replaced this section here. Now, as I was digging around, I mentioned before I felt fiberglass behind here. And this is what I've pulled out. So behind that obviously is another rust hole. Now what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and spin the camera around and get the light in there so we can all see what's going on, because it's looking rather nasty, I think. The light in there. So this is what we're looking at. All rusting down through here, rust hole through here as we come up and around. I'm sorry about the angle here, guys, but this is the best I can do. You can see the rust up through here as well. So not looking terribly flash, but you know, not overly hard to repair, to be honest, especially once it's upside down on the rotisserie. So yeah, I thought that was quite interesting. But yeah, it definitely looks like there's been a section welded in there. Might also explain the fact that this door's had a door skin put on it, and the telltale signs are tack weld, tack weld, tack weld, and so on around the door, all the way around. Another tack weld there. When I come up here, I can see where it's been tack welded there, tack welded there. So it's had a whole skin put on this door. Look in the inside here, you can see another tack weld there, another tack weld there. Another one there. Slight amount of rust in the corner here I've got to fix. Another tack weld down there. So it's definitely had a skin put on this door. There's no ifs, no buts there. So could explain some of the gap issues if the skin hasn't been put on the door quite right, but we'll keep working with it and we'll see where we get to. The extent of the damage doesn't seem to flow on through. It seems to be all fairly normal here. This dodgy looking weld here is, I've seen this a few times on HQ, so I'm pretty sure that's factory. I don't believe it's had the sill replaced. Mind you saying that, there is some pretty shady looking grinder marks in and around there. They could well be factory. I suppose we'll find out when we paint strip. Get all the paint off. This door's going to need some major clean up on the inside. Looks terrible. It's just coating, rust proofing or something flaking off. So it does have a few little sins that are hiding, but we are finding them, and we'll get there. Anyway guys, I think I'm going to call that a night. So thanks for watching tonight, and we'll come back tomorrow night and continue on with this and see how far we get with it. Hopefully I'm not boring you too much, and enjoying Busted and Rusted. Please like, subscribe, the usual things. It'll help me a great deal. Thanks guys.